Good Monday afternoon to you. Welcome to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH. It's a pleasure to be with you and a pleasure to be with my family members today. It is AI Monday. That's right. Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor, join us. How are you, my friend?
I am doing great. How about you, buddy?
I've spent half the day with meetings with you. So
I
yeah,
know.
doing great. Happy post-Thanksgiving to you, bro.
Thank you. Same to you.
Wish we could have spent it together.
Granddad.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Spent some great quality time with the beautiful grandbabies. Yep, it was incredible. That's for sure. I'm still waiting for some grandbabies from the other family member joining.
Give me a
Bailey
break.
Sanchez.
I would
Well,
think
if you
the
didn't have me
pressure's
in-
all off.
Well, I found out,
Should
you know what I
be.
found out, bro? You'll appreciate this as her uncle. Here's what I found out. Her fiance wants 5 kids. He already has a beautiful young son, 4 years old, but he wants 5 kids altogether. So we're prepping Bailey all weekend,
Wow. Talk about training.
yeah, exactly.
If you didn't start so many businesses that you had me be a part of,
Right,
I would have
that's
time
the
to do
problem.
normal life.
I can't afford for you to get to get pregnant and all that stuff because we need you in the firm because I saw what happened with your sister-in-law as far as the amount of work we can get out of her when she was pregnant, and those two things just don't go together. So
Future employees, at least.
Well, if you have 5 kids too, you have a lot of businesses.
Yeah. Future employees.
Yeah, exactly. She's gonna, I know what she's gonna do. She's gonna put them all to work the minute they can start walking. I'm not feeding horses anymore. No way. I'm gonna do that. Great to be with both of you. Great to be with you. It was a beautiful Thanksgiving, right, B?
Yes, absolutely.
It was indeed. All righty, folks. Well, there's the family gathering. Let me tell you what we have lined up for you this afternoon on the Jon Sanchez Show. It is, again, a Monday. So we are going to be going into, as we do each and every Monday, an AI topic to help you learn this great new thing in life called artificial intelligence and ChatGPT and Copilot and all the great things that are out there. And as always, we try to bring you some type of a money-making idea, right? We've been on this theme for, Dennis, about the last month, I guess it's been, in regards to solopreneurship. And then the last couple of weeks, we've been transitioning over into what's called familypreneurship, where you're utilizing AI to form a business for the family, not just the solo side of things. And so, if you missed any of those great shows, go back and listen to our podcast on those because Dennis did an excellent job, as always, enlightening us about this hot new trend that's coming, or that's already here, I should say, the family solopreneurship. But today, bro, you wanted to talk about something that I think is very interesting. And that is, here we are, December 1st. We were just joking before the show started saying, I feel like, Monday today, it feels like I've been on a rat on a treadmill. It's just jumping from one meeting to another meeting to another meeting and so on and so forth. And you said, yep, welcome back, from a holiday. And that's so true. But before we know it, we're going to have 2 more holidays right in front of us, meaning Christmas and, of course, New Year's. So we all know that it is a sprint between December 1st to December 31st to get a lot of things done when it comes to business. One of those things that we need to get done is look at the possibility of getting that family or solopreneurship business started before the end of the year. Now, what you're going to learn from Dr. Dennis today and myself and Bailey is what are going to be some of the great advantages, like tax advantages, et cetera, to get this business up and running this year and hit the ground running come January the 1st, right? So you're going to be in for a great treat today. We're going to give you 3 reasons to start and I'm just going to use the term to make things simple, solopreneurship, but just know that I'm using that term interchangeably with familypreneurship. But 3 reasons to start a solopreneurship business by the end of the year. So we're going to go through, again, all these great reasons behind it. Dennis, I'd like to kind of recap too, when we get to the topic here after my stock update, kind of recap what we touched on last week as far as the familypreneurship and what you see going on in the industry and so on and so forth. Because, once again, the layoffs are not going to stop. They're only going to continue. And we've got a lot of things that this economy is facing right now. Got some economic reports towards the end of last week and this week showing the consumer is weakening. Default rates are rising on autos and homes and so on and so forth. People are looking for ways to start a business and to make a dollar. And I know of no better way than the idea of solopreneurship. And now let's try to get some things done before the end of the year.
No, I mean, hopefully this show will get some people off the couch instead of watching some of these Christmas specials and actually do something about starting that business. Because really, you can do it in an hour. You can do it in 2 hours. You can do it in one day. This is not something that takes from here until the end of the year to finish.
Yep, you better believe it. You just got to know what direction to go. And Dennis is going to continue his great offer that we'll tell you about of you got to get trained. You got to learn how to use AI and some of the basic fundamentals in order to build this business. And we've got just an incredible offer that many of you are taking advantage of. And Dennis has been kind enough to extend it again today for just the Jon Sanchez Show listeners. So we got a lot of great things to talk about. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk about the stock market, which was unfortunately not a great thing today. It was I don't know how else to say, guys. It was a challenging day today, to say the very least. We started things off a little bit on the weak side. Of course, last week we pulled things off. November was a bit of a choppy month, on average, down between 2 to 3%, depending upon what average you look at. But we pulled things off on the holiday shortened week last week. But then we get into today, and there was something going on that we haven't had to deal with in a couple weeks. And that one something thing is crypto. Something we don't talk a lot about on this show. And what we're seeing going on, to make it really basic for everybody, is to understand that essentially what we see happening is the stock market is getting a lot of its cues right now from what's going on with, and I'm just going to use the term Bitcoin, but it really applies to a lot of the different cryptocurrencies. And so what we started to see happen was, towards the end of last week, over the weekend, because remember, crypto trades 24/7. And then today, that the price of Bitcoin tumbling once again. And just to kind of give you an idea, remember at our peak, we were at what, Bailey, what was it, about 123,000, I think, or so, a month or so ago.
Mhm.
And then we had that really rough period in the market just a few weeks ago where crypto started to sell off. The stock market did the exact same thing. And then both of them rebounded. So we're definitely seeing a correlation between crypto prices and the stock market on a lot of days, not always, but in many of the trading sessions. Well, just to kind of give you an update right now, we're watching crypto down 5.28%, $4,818.11 loss to $86,513. Again, remember we peaked at about 123,000. So, I did a show, geez, maybe you can go back to our notes. I forget what day it was, but I went into great detail about why why crypto is falling like it is falling.
Right.
The bottom line is, folks, this is, again, as I went into my explanation, many of these brokerage firms that you are trading, crypto through, you are leveraging your money, whether you know it or not, right? You put in, to make it real simple, you put in $100 and they're letting you trade $200 worth of crypto, or in some cases, 100 times that $100. So it just really depends upon what you're doing. And I told all of you, if you're trading that, please understand what the rules are with the firm that you are trading with. Because here's why the stock market started to sell off a few weeks ago due to weakness in crypto. And again, what's happening today. You got to look at the investor, guys. Investor has a finite amount of money, right? So they've got some money in crypto and they've got some money in the stock market and their 401k and so on and so forth. Well, if we expand that to, say, someone with a lot of money, again, hopefully they're going to be diversified. But when they start to see something like these automatic sell orders going through on their crypto brokerage account, and when I say automatic, I'll go through that again in a moment, they start losing money that it's out of their control. The brokerage firm, the algorithms are automatically selling off their crypto. And they're like, oh my God, I had whatever, I'll pick a hypothetical number, $10,000 in my account last week. And now I'm down to, $1,000 or $2,000. And people are going, uh-oh, I just lost a bunch of money in crypto. So guess what? I'm going to go to the stock market side. I've got assets over in the stock market. I better liquidate some of those and get the money back over into my crypto account, or I better reduce my risk overall. And so we saw a big issue of that arising today, because we really didn't have any bad economic reports. We had some construction spending numbers, some ISM numbers, and so on and so forth. So there was really nothing negative going on other than the weakness in crypto. And it resulted in, like I said, a pretty good sell-off. We had some intermittent periods where the market kind of brushed it aside. It rose. But then what we saw is really volatile, very rapid movements in the sale of the market, where these algorithms would start to kick in. And then boom, literally, I'm looking at, many of my time and sales charts right now. And literally in a matter of minutes, the Dow would wipe out 100, 200 points, try to rebound. And a couple of times it did. But towards the end, we had a big, massive sell-off at about, let's see, it looks like around 11 o'clock or so our time, and then kind of went flat, and then another sell-off going into the close. Really, this was a day where the crypto market was really influencing the stock market. So that gets a little bit on the crazy side when you go, wait a minute, I don't even have any money in Bitcoin or any of the other cryptos. And now my stock market account, my 401k, my kids' college education account is being impacted by what's going on in this crazy world called cryptocurrency. And you don't understand why, but that's really the rationale there.
Very up and down. Sounds like a teeter-totter of investing.
How about yo-yo teeter-totter?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Understatement.
Yeah.
So essentially, folks, that's really what happened today is that there was not a significant amount more to really say as far as the rationale behind it. NVIDIA was a standout today. I will throw that out there. Stock finished the day up $2.92, about 1.65% to 179.92. They announced thought of you, Dennis, when this news came out, a strategic partnership with Synopsys, which soared today up $20.28, in which the companies are going to deal with advanced agentic AI engineering using GPUs, accelerated computing, and digital twin technology. Maybe you can put that in English, what the heck that means, because I'm not quite sure.
3 months ago, you wouldn't have known what that was.
No. Well, even right now, I don't know what that is. I don't know what,
A lot of power.
all I know is GPU. Yeah, but accelerated computing. Okay, that makes sense. But digital twin technology. So I didn't get a chance to research that. But anyways, NVIDIA went up, Synopsys went up. Apple notched a solid gain today. But what was interesting, I should mention, guys, on Apple before we go to break, I'm going to try to bring up the story very quickly because it just happened a few minutes ago. One of their lead engineers, at Apple in the AI space said he's leaving the company. They just announced that, like I said a little while ago. I'll dig up who it was, etc. But once again, Dennis, it's all about AI, right? It's like everything we talk about all day long. It's AI, whether it's positive, negative, still dealing with valuation issues and so on and so forth. So,
but yet we look for that positive side. And that's what we're doing today.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. We sure will. We'll come back and talk about why we should start your familypreneur business before year end with Dr. Dennis Sanchez, Bailey Sanchez. Let's turn it over to Kristen Snow right now, Traffic Center. Hello, Kristen. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH with my brother, Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor, and of course, Bailey Sanchez, Director of Marketing, Sanchez Gaunt Capital Management, to bring in that youthful commentary that we do. Why should you start your familypreneurship business before the year end? We're going to get those answers to you. But first, I want to give you a recap once again of what happened today. So a bit of a sell-off today affecting the market. We finished down 427 on the Dow, a 0.90% loss to 47,289. NASDAQ gave up 89 points, so not bad, 0.38%, closing at 23,275. And the S&P lower by 36 points, about a 0.53% loss to 6,812. On the oil front, we gave up 83 cents on oil, $59.35 a barrel, $19.16 decline in gold, $4,244.80 an ounce, and pretty good jump up in bond yields, 8 basis point increase on the 10-year at a yield close of 4.1%. And once again, just to follow up, as I mentioned earlier, top dog at Apple held the position since joining the company in 2018. Doesn't say where he's going, but he's going to remain as an advisor, but he's stepping down. I'm not seeing really any negative reaction in the stock in the app after our session. So that's really always the good thing. Whenever you see an executive leave, you always worry about that. But the stock actually just went positive up a penny in the after hours. So, all right, now you're up to date on that side of things. Let's get into our topic again, why you should start the familypreneurship business. And again, we're going to use the term solopreneurship, familypreneurship interchangeably throughout this the rest of the show, and why we want to do this by the end of the year. So guys, let's kind of start with a recap, Dennis, of what we touched on last Monday when you were on the show, and talking about again the reason many people are considering and doing the familypreneurship side of things.
Well, the first thing we need to recognize is what's going on with entrepreneurship, period. All of a sudden, it's everywhere. And I think the reason is now it's a necessity. It's a survival technique. Whereas in the past it was, people that were adventurous, tired of other things. And now it's almost like if you're a family, anybody out there needs to kind of connect with that fire, that entrepreneurial fire. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of our future in the country depends on entrepreneurs because when you think about it, they are the creative force. They go out, what are they doing? Solving problems, and they're doing it creatively. They're out on their own doing it, not accepting what the status quo does. So it's this trend, and we're not just making it up. I mean, the numbers are there with a number of businesses that have been started over the last couple of years, just record numbers.
2024.
So then you break it down to the next level. So who can be an entrepreneur? Well, in America, anybody can be an entrepreneur. So we start with that, and it's our God-given freedoms that we have, and still one of the best ways to make money, have experienced favorable tax benefits. And, it's just one of those opportunities. So kind of look at some of the trends driving it. Where the economy is putting a lot of pressure on people, making people who never would have imagined themselves start a business thinking, you know what, we need a little bit of extra income just to pad the retirement, just to pay for this extra cost of living. Whatever the reason is, people feel like we need something, we need some protection. And sometimes it is absolute survival to do this. So
Bailey,
take
tell
those
the audience
trends.
how old you are. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Dennis, I thought you were done. Bailey, tell the audience how old you are.
I am 29.
What are you hearing among those in your age group, the high 20s, low 30s, etc.? One of the biggest challenges, you and I were discussing this, over Thanksgiving dinner, the challenges that your generation specifically, and maybe the next generation after you and definitely before you, are facing in regards to how in the world am I ever going to afford a home? How in the world am I ever going to save for retirement? How in the world can I even go buy a new car now? And, talking $50,000, $60,000, you add all that up, and oh, by the way, you still got to eat, and on and on and on.
Oh, and it's becoming such a common theme too amongst my age group and even older people going back to live with their parents, or grandparents are living with the parents and the kids are coming in back after college too, student loans, all the things. So I think it's really a toss up I see with people in my age group, because I feel like when we came into the workforce, we were already a little bit more flexible, such as myself. I wanted to do a little of this, a little of that. I wanted the freedom to be able to travel while working. And then there are some people, of course, who have, your job where you show up your 9 to 5, and everyone is talking about, they see AI replacing jobs. And so I think it really comes into the mindset now of seeing the silver lining of, we're still young enough, our brains are able to kind of process more info, such as learning AI, and of course the older generation too, but we're a little bit more flexible on learning new technologies and using that to our advantage.
What I was getting to is your generation looking at AI and its ability to help you start a business literally in a matter of hours as that solution that's out there, so that you can afford a down payment on a house and all the other things in life I just mentioned.
To give you the honest truth, I still see so many people my age, even friends around me, who have not even put their toes in the water with AI yet.
Really?
It's still such an untalked about topic where people don't see the potential of what's sitting at their fingertips for free every day. So I think people are letting the fear get to them of if their job can be replaced, and people have not yet seen that silver lining, the optimism to utilize AI to start a business. Because I think too, even growing up when I went to high school, it's not really pushed to be a business owner or even do a trade of a sort or own your own business for a trade. So there's really a turning of the times that I see with parents of trying to push their kids to either be business owners or have a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit going into adulthood.
And Bailey, you're interesting because you were a solopreneur before it was popular. It was even a trend.
The term was even created.
You were doing it before, and you talk about some of those motivational reasons. You probably wanted autonomy. You wanted your own money. And it's in your DNA, so you really didn't have a choice that you were going to end up that way. And all
that, along with a bad bag.
But think also about the external influencers you had then. You saw your whole family is a bunch of entrepreneurs, so it was kind of natural. So how do we replicate that model with other people that don't have anybody in their family that's an entrepreneur, that they don't have any experience? How can we bridge that gap?
I have two answers to this. I think for one, it falls into the hands of our educators and parents. Even if parents are not involved, educators, please pay attention and open up some more doors for your students. There's so many opportunities. But if you don't have that influence, you're out of school, you don't have somebody to lead you. I always say, I'm a broken record. Nobody has an excuse anymore not to figure out how to do something of these sorts on your own. You have Google, you can open up any AI system and use it for free. Figure out what makes you tick, and then Google AI, whatever it is, how to do it. Because now it's not having to open up even a textbook or anything of the sorts to learn it now. It is simply searching through the internet, and you'll find your answers within about 5 seconds.
How important, real quick before we go to break, and I by no means, folks, do I know the answer to this, so it may make me look like a real idiot. Wouldn't be the first time. How influential was I to you and your entrepreneurial spirit? In other words, do you think if you didn't have a father that was a serial entrepreneur like myself and always been self-employed, you would be where you are today as far as your love and your desire for business?
I mean, the obvious answer is I would not be. And I see a lot of friends who I grew up with whose parents were not that entrepreneurial spirit. They were used to the 9 to 5. The normal quote unquote American dream, and you work until you're 65. And I see my friends take after their parents in that sort, and it's finally coming to the point now where they're bored with their job, they want to change up their career, they already have kids and they need a change, and so it has hindered them. And I think as a parent, even if you don't have that entrepreneurial spirit, you can still push your kids to be open-minded enough to look at other avenues of work other than just going to your accounting job if that's not what you love to do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Have that passion. Last thing I'll throw in on that, find a mentor, folks. That's the other thing too. If you do have this desire to become a solo or familypreneur, and you don't know where to start, find someone that's, trust and respect that can be a great mentor, because people always think successful people don't want to give back to those that are just starting out. And it's the farthest thing from the truth. I know myself, I love, love, love helping. I don't care. I was going to say kids, but it's really anybody that has that desire, right?
I'll
That
tell you,
wants
if
it.
I didn't have mentors other than yourself, right?
Mhm.
I would not be where I'm at, because any
Right.
industry where I've dabbled in, whether it was drone videography or anything of this marketing, all the things, the rodeo that I put on, there are so many people who want to just give that wealth of knowledge
Yes.
to somebody else. And I have found myself, not that I'm an expert by any means in a ton of things, but I love passing along my business knowledge to other friends who are starting a business and
Absolutely.
just giving the tips that I do know how to do it. So people want to help you. So just
Yeah.
ask, throw up
Just
a
ask.
Facebook post if
That's
you
it.
have to, and just look, open your eyes to it.
Yeah.
Yep, help, white flag.
I need to go from point A to point B.
Yep.
All right. Well, speaking of helping, we're going to help you. We're going to start off with the tax benefits of starting a business by the end of this year with Dr. Dennis Sanchez, Bailey Sanchez. Let's turn it over to Jack Saban. First of all, Jack, I want to welcome you back. We missed you so much. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. The Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH with Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor, and my daughter, Bailey Sanchez. Once again, we finished down 427 on the Dow, 0.90% loss, 89-point decline on the NASDAQ at a 0.38% at a level of 23,275. S&P down 36.53%. All right, you're looking to make money, right? Trying to figure things out, whether you're going to go part-time, full-time, whatever it is. You know that AI needs to be a part of it. But let's give you a little incentive, right? We remember, folks, when it comes to starting a business, we have two things that we can look at. We can have a dream or we can have a goal. What's the difference between the two? A goal, you have definitive dates and deadlines and things to achieve it. A dream is, I'm going to start a business someday. Well, guess what? 5 years are going to go by and that someday is still going to be around, but you're going to miss this window. And as we think, before we get to the first benefit of starting the business before the end of the year, we think we really have a defined or definitive that we all need to take advantage of AI as far as like business and so on and so forth, because it's going to become so commoditized in such a short period of time.
When you look at the number of people applying for new businesses, that's what the trend is saying, that people are waking up to do that. Now, there's always the saying that, especially with technology, you've got to get involved hands-on and really understand it, what it is today, because it's going to change tomorrow. And that's just more that you have to learn. Now is the time. There's so many options right now, so many places you can go to get information. What are we talking about at risk here?
Right.
Most of the
Not
technology
like
you
before.
can try for free for 30 days. You don't have to spend a dime starting your business, putting it together, and test it. And then you have a business, and
Exactly.
you're cooking.
Well, like we said before, and that'll be our next point is, how you have such a low barrier of entry with AI into business. As we'll discuss here in a moment, the old days of, again, renting an office space or storefront or whatever, those days are done. And, as Bailey will enlighten us on, you can test your business idea due to social media and so many other digital marketing efforts where you can make people think you really have a business and say, I'm opening this Spotify or Etsy storefront, whatever the case is, and I'm going to sell quilts, right? I got great orders, take a picture of a quilt and go, $35. Did she really do it? No. Is it lying? A little bit, but I've never done this, but I know a lot of people do. And all of a sudden, if the orders start coming in, you go, hit the idea, right? I can sell a quilt. So That's just a real basic example. But before we get to that, guys, let's go to the tax benefit side of things. This is really one of the biggest pushes to get this thing done before the end of the year. First and foremost, of course, you want to discuss this with your CPA or tax professional, right? Because there are some very stringent rules that you must follow. But if you are eligible, which I think a lot of you most likely would be, think about this. If your desire is to start this business in 2026, guess what? You can deduct your startup expenses, things like equipment, software, legal fees, accounting fees, what we call the professional fees on this year's tax return. I'm going to get, I could get really technical, but I'm not. You can even go so far as putting an asset, like i.e. your vehicle that you're going to use in the business. You can put it in the business and get the deduction for that, right? So you can use existing assets to put into the business. So it is huge. Some of you may qualify for the home office deduction. Now, there's some pluses and minuses to that your accountant will enlighten you on. But again, you spent the last 3 months designing this business. Guess what? You use part of your home. You should be able to deduct that. Same with health insurance. Retirement plans, like I said, I've done a lot of shows on this. I'll do more. Folks, you have no idea the difference in retirement plan contribution limits when you are self-employed versus when you are, right, Dennis? When you're a 9-to-5 employee, it's mind-boggling. Again, you have no idea what's even out there. And I'm not saying that, derogatory. I'm just saying there's so many plans out there. It's mind-blowing. But you can't have those when you're 9-to-5. You can't have them if you're self-employed. And then hiring family members, over Bailey's life growing up, many times I would pay her a salary because I could deduct it. Now I could deduct it, but guess what? When she was old enough to, and I did this with her siblings too, when they're old enough, and what is that age? It depends upon the business. Some will say maybe 9, 10, 11 years old. It depends upon the business. If you have something in the office, very legitimate to be able to hire your young child to, clean your office or do things to help you out. You can pay them a wage. Now, guess what? That income level, remember, they can make a certain amount of money, and don't hold me to this. It's been years since I've done it. I think last time I checked, it was like $750. They can make without paying any income tax on it. Well, guess what? If you're in the 25 or 30% income tax bracket yourself, they can make that money and not pay any taxes on it. And then the next chunk of money they can make, it's also most likely going to be in a lower bracket than you. So it benefits everybody. Plus, Bailey, right? Remember, it gives you an idea. You're getting a paycheck, you're getting reward. And you're like, hey, I'm kind of getting a taste of this, entrepreneurship type of thing. Yeah. So the list is a mile long for reasons to get this business started before the end of the year.
It helps that creativity flow at a younger age, seeing the opportunity to not work for a stranger and work underneath them. Because I've done both. I've worked under strangers. I've also worked under you for multiple businesses and worked for myself, and working for you and seeing kind of that creativity and a little bit of openness working under a parent, right? And it helped me kind of get the idea of what it's like to own your own business.
What's amazing, Dennis? All of your 4 sons are extremely successful. 2 of them are professional athletes. One is a professional soccer coach. The other, obviously, Cooper, professional soccer player. I'd be terrified to look back at how much money you spent over their lifetime in travel fees and hotels. And I mean, everything associated to get them to this level that you and your wife have spent. But isn't it amazing that we will spend that amount of money? All of us, we've done that, on our kids and sports, but we won't do it, to Bailey's point, to develop them for really the best gift on life, which is treating them or teaching them about entrepreneurship going forward, right? Isn't that a big gap in our society?
It is. I'm wondering, just off the top of my head, how maybe TikTok has filled a role with young people.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is what a banner for entrepreneurship that young people are seeing. Yeah. I have a feeling there's a whole generation that's going, I want a side hustle too.
That's something I see every single day on there. I mean, it really is refreshing to go on there and see. I mean, I always come across all these different marketing hacks and all these things, but people saying, hey, I do this side hustle. Here's the money I put in. A lot of people are transparent now because that's what kind of gets the views. But I think it is encouraging people to start their own business. Maybe not in the same way that we would have 10 years ago, but it's encouraging that entrepreneurial spirit.
Well, you look at the amount real quick. You look at the amount of money people make on YouTube, right? You get, so they're always telling you, subscribe. What, you get 100,000 subscribers, it equates to X amount of money. You get a 200, it equates to X amount. So you're getting paid to do something you love, which is create videos. And then you get, your generation's famous for this, Bailey. You become an influencer, quote. I mean, some of these are making millions of dollars, millions of dollars doing really dumb things, just chatting essentially
dancing,
online.
Basically.
I mean, some are really good, but man, that was not available when your uncle and I were growing up. That's for sure. So there's no reason not to do it.
They kind of made entrepreneurship fun. when you
There you
get
go.
it,
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's a
They
good way
did.
to look
They
at
had
it.
to do it with cartoons and stuff to get
Yeah,
their
yeah,
attention.
exactly. All right, we'll come back with our final reason for you to get a AI solopreneur or familypreneur business started, and that is the low barriers to entry. So Bailey's going to walk us through, literally in a matter of a couple minutes, step A through Z of how you can get your business up and running, literally in a matter of a couple hours. Let's turn it over to Kristen Snow to wrap us up in the Right Now Traffic Center. Hello, Kristen. Back to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH with Dr. Dennis Sanchez and Bailey Sanchez. Once again, we're going to wrap up here why you should start your familypreneurship business or solopreneurship business by the end of the year. But if you have, as Bailey said, if you have no knowledge about AI, Dr. Dennis Sanchez has put together an incredible course for a whopping $199. Trust me, it's a multi-$1,000 value. You're going to get licensing to Microsoft 365 Copilot, Microsoft 365 Core Application, videos, training materials, live events through Brainstorm LMS Online, curriculum specifically that he created for familypreneurs who is seeking the strong foundation of AI skills, 30-day free access to the Perform AI community, and a free copy of his book, Rise of the AI Solopreneur ebook. Limited to, or up to 5 family members can use this information, right, in your household. $199. Send an email, Dr. Dennis Sanchez at performai.ai. Dr. Dennis Sanchez at performai.ai. Tell him you heard it on the Jon Sanchez Show. He'll send you all the links. Phenomenal information. We talked about, again, a phenomenal Christmas present also. And what a way to get this whole new year started.
Gift of learning.
Yeah, gift that'll last for a lifetime. Okay, Bailey, pressure's on you, girl. Here we go. I want to start a business in a couple hours. I listened to this show. I'm ready to go. I want potentially some tax benefits. I'm 26, making a whole bunch of money and being happy, maybe to be able to leave my job, whatever. How do I do it? Give it to me.
Yep. I want you to open up chatgpt.com. I want you to throw in there. These are the 3 top things that I'm interested in. Pick a business model. Ask ChatGPT to pick you a business model. As soon as you have that, ask it to come up with 10 different business names. As soon as you like that, you ask AI to make your brand in 10 minutes for you. It'll come up with fonts, colors, anything that's relevant to the industry that you're in. You could take that to Canva and create some graphics through that. And then after that, go back to ChatGPT and ask it to create your first offer. Ask for 3 simple packages, price A, B, and C. And then you're going to ask ChatGPT, how do I deliver this to potential customers? And ask it, what customers should I be looking for? After that, you're going to ask ChatGPT or another website I came across the other day. And forgive me if I mispronounce it. It's Kimi, KIMI.com. And I tried it with one of our businesses. I threw in a script of what I want a app actually to look like. You can do websites, apps, etc. And it built out the entire platform for me within about a minute and a half. So it will create the whole design for you that you can preview right there. You can copy and paste all of that script into a GoDaddy website builder. That's the easiest that I have found. And from there, you're going to ask ChatGPT to build your delivery system, create a social media calendar. And from right there, you have every single thing that you will need. You can start automating your processes. You can use something like Hootsuite or Sprout Social that will schedule your social media posts. Again, those posts can be graphics that ChatGPT has made. Maybe put yourself on camera for 30 seconds explaining your product and post everywhere. Post on your local Facebook groups, post to your church group, or send a text to your church group friends. And from there, you can start building, kind of figure out your stats, what people like, what they don't, and you start testing from there. And it's as simple as that. I could probably do that in about 10, 15 minutes instead of 2 hours.
Yep, there you go. How do you think of that for your niece, bro?
I want to say I trained her, but that's not true.
I think we both did.
Yeah. The only other thing I would add to that, that's a great summary.
Great job.
Is during that process, listen to what ChatGPT is saying to you, because it will actually make some suggestions. Have you considered this, done this?
Yes.
So it's not just a one-way conversation. You'll get even more out of that interaction.
Yeah.
It's like talking to a friend when you're doing it. It's like a counselor, actually. Yeah, it's not just a one-way conversation.
The more you use, whether it's ChatGPT or Copilot, the more you use it, the more it gets to know you, and it makes creating businesses even easier. Great job, Bailey. If you have any questions on that, you can reach out to Bailey for that checklist, Bailey at SanchezGaunt.com, Dr. Dennis Sanchez at performai.ai to get that great offer. Great job, family members. Do appreciate you. I love you both.
Thank you.
And love all of you. We'll see you tomorrow on the Jon Sanchez Show. God bless. Have a great afternoon.
Jon Sanchez is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by Sanchez Gaunt Capital Management, LLC on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of News Talk 780 or its parent company, Cumulus Media. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.